Hello, sports fans, and welcome to Sports on the Spot. My name is Willie Charger, and I'll be joined by Nick James. Later on, our friends Lenny and Larry, who are going to be giving us their lowdown and their rundown. And today we're going to be talking about the pro sports world. Spending some time talking about the upcoming NBA playoffs, and then later on, a little bit about Major League Baseball. Nick, do you have any thoughts about the upcoming playoffs that are going to start in the NBA this week?
Yeah, Willie, I'm pretty excited about the play-in tournament. You have the Warriors and Lakers playing in the play-in round. It almost feels like a finals atmosphere. Yeah, maybe they can still both move on, but it's a rough way to start. Meanwhile, you have the Clippers and Nuggets both tanking, try to maybe avoid the Lakers. It's crazy to think that my Clippers are that afraid of a hurt Lakers team, but they lost to the Rockets and the Thunder, the two worst teams in the West, and they weren't very close games. So there is a good argument that they were tanking. What did you think, Willie?
I don't know. I think they might have hurt themselves internally by doing that. I don't know if it was such a good idea to lose their last two regular season games going into the playoffs. I don't think, in general, that's good for your psychology. Let's talk some more about the NBA playoffs with Ronnie, who's going to be giving us his rundown on who's going to be winning this championship this season. Take it away, Ronnie.
Hey everybody, how you doing? We're back. Had a little bit of a scare last week, but we're all good. Everybody's safe and sound. Everything's paid in full. A couple of people I'm still looking for, but that's another story that'll be for another time. We're going to talk about NBA playoffs as they're getting underway here. We're going to take a look at maybe some teams that we think are worth the bet, or maybe not, just talk about teams who we think are going to win a championship. NBA playoffs is an exciting time. To be honest with you, for the most part, it's pretty predictable. I mean, you got three top teams. You got the Nets, you got the Lakers, and the Clippers. Those are the top three teams as far as odds go to win the championship. And, I think any of those three teams can end up winning it. I am a Nets fan, full disclosure. I've been a fan since the New Jersey days when they were the New Jersey Nets, so you can shut up about it. All right, but me, Vinny Valvucci, Bobby Bonaduccio, we used to go to the games all the time. All those guys, Jimmy Giancarlo, Sal Saliano. We go to the games at the Continental Airlines Arena over there in the Meadowlands. It's a great spot. They got the horse track over there, the harness racing, a little bit another fine establishment right down the road that I can't name. You can look it up. But I'm rooting for the Nets. I don't necessarily love this team that they have, but I'm going to be rooting for them, and they definitely have a good shot to win the championship. I'll give you two other teams to take a look at. The Denver Nuggets. I just like this squad. I like the Joker, and I like the way they play. Plus, they got the high altitude, so if they're playing some home games, you never know. It could be tough for some other teams. And with COVID, I don't even know who's letting fans in or not, but I can see Denver having a lot of fans. The other team would be the Miami Heat. They're just a playoff team. I don't really care what their regular season record was like. I feel like the Heat always are a tough out in the playoffs. And then again, especially with COVID being lifted down in Miami, some of the visiting teams, you never know what can happen. My buddy Chris Cristiano went down for a weekend in Miami, never came back, ended up having like 6 kids. The guy's going to field the whole baseball team. So, you got to be careful as the visiting team down there in Miami. But good luck, and we'll talk to you next week, see how the games are going.
Okay, well, thanks for that, Ronnie. And now let's spend a little bit of time talking Major League Baseball and the early season pennant race. I wanted to talk a little bit about the National League West, where the Giants continue to surprise, winning a lot of games and still holding on to first place with a half-game lead over the Padres and the Dodgers 2 games back. I don't know if the Giants are going to be able to sustain this success throughout the season. Most pundits believe that in the end, the Padres and the Dodgers have way too much depth, way too much pitching, and in the end, those two teams are going to end up on top. While we're talking about the Padres, I will say that I'm very impressed with their makeshift lineup that has managed to win 5 out of the 6 games since they lost 5 of their starters due to the COVID virus. Tatis, Hosmer, Myers, Profar, that's the heart of your lineup. They're all out, and yet you got guys like Kim and Andriotti and other guys I didn't even know who are somehow managing to win and stay afloat. I'm really impressed with just how much the depth the Padres have winning all these games with their backups. What do you think, Nick?
It's really good to see the Padres essentially tied for first, just a half game back, like you said. Dodgers are right behind the Padres, but like you said, I agree. I think the Padres and the Dodgers are both going to end up fighting for the division title. Shows a lot of heart the Padres have. I mean, they had a close series in the playoffs last year, and close enough for such a young, unexperienced team. And then here they're playing with heart, winning games, they're getting runs. So I'm really excited. Once we get our guys back who've been sick, I mean, this could also be some rest too for a lot of our starters. So hopefully, if they recover well, we'll be coming into the end of the regular season pretty strong. What do you think, Ronnie?
Yeah, well, last week we talked about this, and I have to backtrack a little bit on one of the things I said regarding the Giants. They may be for real. I don't know if they're going to win the division, but they're taking a closer look into their pitching. They're fourth in the majors in lowest earned run average. Guess who's number one? The Padres, and number two is the Dodgers. So all teams have great pitching rotations. The Giants have a great bullpen. Again, not saying they're going to win the division, but I don't know. They may stick around and be competitive and make it a lot more tougher for both of these teams trying to run away with the division. And truthfully, what it really probably is going to come down to is who's going to make the right deals at the trade deadline for either some bats or an extra arm. There's already talk about the Cubs trading all of their big guys, Rizzo, Bryant, Baez. They're all on the last year of their contracts. Those are all huge bats. It'll be interesting to see if any of these NL West teams make a play for any of those guys. And, that may be the difference maker.
We'll see. The Dodgers already pulled the trigger by signing Albert Pujols for the remainder of the season, and we'll see how that plays out. Well, we'll have to come back and talk more as the season heats up, but I want to now turn it over to Lenny for his Lenny Lowdown. Take it away, Lenny.
Lenny Edmonds reporting here, this time from the field, quite literally, as you'll see in a moment. A lot of you older viewers out there might be mourning the loss of the good old days of Sandlot baseball or street baseball, back before helicopter parents organized kids' sports for them. Well, the good news is Sandlot or street baseball, it's still a thing. As you can see, the street behind me is teeming with kids playing baseball. Let's snag one of those players right now and chat about today's game. Young man, what's your name?
My mom really doesn't want me to talk to you.
Helicopter parents, right? Let's call him Johnny. Johnny, what are you and your friends doing out here today?
I'm just hitting my cricket ball.
You heard it with your own ears, folks. He's hitting a baseball. And Johnny, how often do you come out here and play ball?
It's my first time. I really don't like playing outside.
Let's talk about how you set the field up out here. Looking around, it looks like first base has got to be that manhole cover. Am I right?
I guess so.
Okay. And second base has got to be the utility box?
I think so.
And third base has got to be that sweatshirt over there. Am I right or am I right?
Sure, it's your show.
It is my show. All right, Johnny, let's talk a little bit about how today's game went. How did you play?
I think I'll head home.
Well, after a big game on the field, it looks like little Johnny is heading home for a tall glass of cold milk and a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
I don't like peanut butter.
Well, I hope this was as heartwarming for you as it was for me. Reporting live from San Diego, this is Lenny Edmonds. Thanks, Lenny. Great reporting. Now it's time to take a question from one of our viewers, of which we have many, and we'll do our best to answer it. This week's question was submitted by Zyrup, Z-Y-R-U-P, sweet name. Zyrup's question is, can you explain why the jersey number change for certain positions in NFL is such a big deal? New jersey numbering, eh? Well, Ron, you're from New Jersey. Why don't you tackle that one first?
Yeah, well, I think it's all comes down to money. So apparently, the players, if they want to change their number, they have to pay the NFL to change it. This is just typical tactics to make more money and squeeze more money out of these guys. I don't really understand it. And it sounds like there's a lot more leeway on who can wear what number. That I definitely am not thrilled about. I love it where the positions have their own traditional numbers. I miss it when guys wore 40s in the jersey numbers. I mean, what happened to running backs and defensive backs wearing numbers in the 40s? That was a guy that you knew was going to hit you hard or do some damage if he had 40s in the number. Everybody now wants to have something flashy and cool, and not a fan. I don't know, Nick, what do you think?
Well, I think that changing the jersey numbers is going to be really fun for the players because, in college you have number 1, number 2, number 3, and this is just going to help with jersey sales, in my opinion, because what's better than getting, a top player's jersey, having 2 versions of it? You know what I mean? You got the Pat Mahomes 15 and then the Pat Mahomes 1, but even better with a wide receiver, you can get the 80s jersey number and then now they're number 1. So you have 2 cool jerseys. You're going to increase sales. I think it's fun. I think it's cool having the low numbers on the defense too. Just, the guys that really want to be noticed are going to go into those single digits. What do you think, Lenny?
Hey, why not go a step further and use letters? Stephen Curry, for example, SC, easy way to identify him.
Well, as a little guy, I always wanted to wear that number 99. So I think it's great if you're like a smaller type of player who always wanted to have a really big number. So for that person, I think it would be a really big deal. Of course, it also allows the NFL to make a lot of extra money, which is always a big deal for the NFL. Well, I guess that's about it for today's show. We've talked a lot and really didn't say much, but just wanted to remind everybody that, first of all, thank everybody for watching the show and reminding everybody to subscribe and comment and like our show if you have the opportunity. Remember also that Sports on the Spot questions can be submitted to the sportsonthespot@gmail.com, or you can ask the question on our comment section of the YouTube page. Otherwise, that's going to be it for today's show. So thanks a lot for everybody and see you next time.
Unbelievable.